A fundamental problem bedeviling Nigeria is politicization of Islam and Christianity. And I start with Islam because the Fulani Muslim imperialists and other Muslims in Nigeria were the opponents of the inclusion of the term secularity in Nigeria's constitution, in the 1979 Nigeria's constitution. But those who drafted the constitution nevertheless included in the constitution that there shall be no state religion. And this prohibition of religion or state religion is to make Nigeria to be equal for all Nigerians, such that when Nigerians gather to talk about Nigeria, they don't bring in the issue of religion. More so that Nigeria is a religiously pluralistic society. It has there are more than one religion in Nigeria. 3 basic religions: African traditional religion, Christianity, and Islam. So in such religiously pluralistic societies, what is done is to exclude Nigeria from the affairs of the country, so that religious people, different religious peoples will take care of their own religion without hanging it on the country. But the Fulani Muslim imperialists and some other Muslims insisted that Islam could not be practiced without hanging it on a country. Oh my God. When Islam started with Prophet Muhammad as the one who popularized it and initiated the spreading of the religion internationally, it was not hung on any country. So until he became the ruler of Medina, was he not a Muslim? So, but that is the problem bedeviling Nigeria since then till now. Because the Christians also say, okay, if you want to hang Islam on Nigeria, whatever Nigeria does for Islam, it must do for Christianity. So, despite Section 10 of Nigeria's constitution that prohibits state religion, Nigeria's rulers, politicians have been imposing Islam and Christianity on Nigeria, making Nigeria to fund pilgrimage boards and subsidize pilgrimages for privileged Christians and Muslims. But my concern in this video is our academic institutions. In the first instance, only Christianity and Islam are imposed on our basic schools, primary and secondary schools. Even in some federal universities, they don't want to hear about African traditional religion, even though we are Africans by divine design. God himself designs us to be Africans. And we have African ancestors, God-given ancestors, through whom we came into being, and not through foreign ancestors and ancestresses. But we have been brainwashed and enforced. Yeah, because when you impose through primary, secondary, and higher institutions, you impose certain religions on Nigeria. So That is what I'm calling attention to, up to university levels. It is like the academic institutions are compelled to provide land for church and mosque when they are not religious institutions. Confusion, confusion. Plant seed of confusion. And worse than that, even in the university administrators, in the universities, attaching in federal universities, government-owned universities, tying matriculation and convocation programs to church and mosque services. Forget that students are not compelled to attend such programs, but that the institutions officially insert church and mosque services in their matriculation and convocation programs. Yeah? So when we accuse politicians of Islamizing and Christianizing Nigeria, what about the government academic institutions doing that? Government-owned academic institutions. And along with that, I also came to realize that because Muslim workers close for some time, mostly less than an hour, for Friday worship, which is the official worship day of Muslims internationally. According to the foundations of the religion Islam, Friday is their major worship day. Sunday is the major worship day of Christians. Yet, because of Friday worship, which is mostly less than an hour, at most 1 hour, Christians in our academic institutions still have Thursday as official day of chapel service. Official day of chapel service. You can see that the competition has become unhealthy. It's mentally destabilizing to realize that Christians also take Thursday as their official chapel day in our academic institutions. Leave their work for chapel worship on Thursday because of Muslims who worship on Friday. What has Thursday chapel service to do with Christianity? So, insanity is happening in our academic institutions. So, when you expect the best from our academic institutions and you don't get it, it is largely because politicization of Islam and Christianity is affecting our academic institutions. You cannot belong to Christianity on Islam and you cannot be a Christian and expect to be vice chancellor of certain even public owned academic institutions. You cannot be a Christian and expect to be the provost, VC, or whatever. You cannot be a Muslim and expect to be the provost or VC of some public academic institutions. So things like this is what I'm calling. Things like this are what I'm calling our attention to as a nation. That are we really reasonable in our approach to politics? Look at what our academic institutions have become. A marketing ground for different Christian and Muslim groups, enticing our children to this or that fellowship. So, which is aiding and abetting polarization, prohibited in our constitution but magnified by our politicians and rulers alike. Oh God. Eh? When are we going to attain intellectual maturity, objectivity, devoid of Christianization and Islamization of ideas, so that our academic institutions become a market ground for Christian and Islamic dogmas? And we are expecting a better society with the situation of things in our academic institutions, where objectivity has no room except as suits Christian and Islamic scholars, rulers, because the university administrators are also rulers. And more often than not, they bring in Christianity and or Islam. To be leaving your work on Thursday for chapel service because of Friday worship of Muslims. That beats me flat. And even now, it's disturbing my brain. Saturday, Sunday is there for Christianity. Even though some Muslims are also taking advantage of it. But so what? Islam is known for Friday, or Friday is known for Muslims. Sunday is known for Christians. And now Thursday, during work day, becomes another day for chapel service, by which Christians will abandon their duty post for chapel service. That level of competition is unhealthy. And so those who think that Christianity is a religion of peace, take that as an example. What are you competing with Muslims for because of Friday? For the most part, they don't spend an hour. What if they spend an hour in a week when the whole of Sunday is for Christians? So there is insanity, too much insanity in what we are doing in Nigeria. And much of it is grounded in Islam and Christianity. Take the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community and count the loss in human lives and the economic resources of Nigeria. Fulani S-men terrorists, count the cost in human lives and the economic resources of Nigeria. And you want to tell us religions of God. What if they are religions of the devil? Before Christianity and Islam came, everybody was a child of God. Simple. And you either behave like a child of God, or you behave like a child of the devil. Simple. Not whether you are a Christian or Muslim. And it no longer matters. Kindness, mercy, compassion no longer matter as to whether you are a Christian or Muslim. That is the ultimate insanity, trailing humanity, a case study of Nigeria.